Hi, my name is BC Hoffman.
And I'm Lalita.
And I'm Adrian Bustamante.
And this is Recipe Wars. Today we're actually going to be doing, perfect for the holiday season, pumpkin pie. I'm going with the amazing, the delicious Emeril Lagasse's pumpkin chiffon pie.
Watch this. First, we're gonna start with the crust. Oh yeah. Get this crust. See, this could be made the day before. You don't have to be like panicking right now.
What I love about this pie is he actually uses eggnog in it. Now, if you can't find eggnog at the store, you can do what we did here and make your own. It's pretty easy. You just have a custard base and you add in your heavy cream. So the chiffon pie always uses gelatin mixed in with egg whites, and that gives it that nice, light, airy feel as opposed to the heavy feel that you get when you use butter in regular traditional pie. And I've got my pumpkin, I've got my heavy cream. I'm gonna make my own fresh whipped cream for topping. It's gonna be awesome.
So my recipe is by Tyler Florence.
We're gonna make a pumpkin banana meringue pie. This is absolutely delicious. So the pumpkin has been in for about 20 minutes. All right, it's not fully cooked yet. All right, so they're soft, they're kind of hot. And what we want to do is take 6 bananas with the skins and everything.
He usually keeps pretty simple, classic recipes with a little bit of twist on it. So the twist of my pumpkin pie is that he uses roasted bananas in there and roasted sugar pumpkins. The other twist on mine is I have this really luscious meringue topping on there besides using whipped cream, so it's just a different alternative for something else other than whipped cream.
And to keep this recipe war fair and even, instead of using an actual gourd, we're gonna just go for your recipe using the straight pumpkin. We're all using the same pumpkin base.
And I'm going with Michael Symon's pumpkin pie recipe that actually has little twists, adding a little bit of chocolate. So it has dark and sweet chocolate in there as well.
All right, well, here's the deal. Here's what I'm gonna make today. My favorite Thanksgiving dessert is pumpkin pie. And a couple years ago, we started making pumpkin pie with melted chocolate folded into it, and it is completely over the top and one of my favorite things to have around the holidays.
There's not too much difference besides that. We're gonna be using some brown sugar as opposed to maybe some, white granulated sugar of some sort, but made my own fresh pie crust as well, and we'll see how it goes. Just quick, easy, but we'll see how the chocolate infuses with the pumpkin.
So my recipe uses a sugar pumpkin, and if you don't know what that is, it's not the same as the jack-o'-lantern pumpkin that you would use to carve. Those pumpkins are a little bit more hollow inside and more stringy, which is better for carving. So sugar pumpkins have a little bit thicker flesh, and when you roast it, it gets really, really sweet.
And you also want to go with a smaller sugar pumpkin because the smaller it is, the sweeter the actual meat is in the inside versus the larger one, which is going to have pale comparison in flavor. So what I'm doing right now is always when you make this, you always want to start with the crust because if you're making dough from scratch, it has to sit overnight. My crust is easy. I took vanilla wafers, put it in a food processor. You can do it by hand. Smashed up the vanilla wafers with some butter, and I just put that in there with some pecans, and it's great. And I'm literally gonna combine all my ingredients. So I've got my pumpkin, and I'm just gonna get all that out. And I've got my 3 egg yolks, and then I'm gonna throw in my brown sugar, my ginger, my salt, my nutmeg.
So my recipe uses roasted bananas, and the reason why we're doing that is because we want to ensure that the banana is super sweet. So if by all means you have some really overly ripe bananas sitting around in your house, you probably don't need to roast it, but when you do roast it, it's going to get nice and black like this. So don't be afraid, this is perfect, this is how you want to be using the roasted bananas. So to roast the bananas, you want to put it on a sheet tray and put it in the oven at about 375 for about 10 minutes. And if it doesn't get dark on the bottom, you could flip it over just to make sure it gets all nice and dark and roasty all the way around. So I'm just gonna mash up my filling with my eggs, sugar, spices, butter. And I'm just doing it this way because I think it's a little bit more fun. If you wanted a more silkier kind of filling, you could take your filling right here after it's all mixed and then strain it through a chinois or any kind of strainer to get out any excess lumps. But this is definitely going to give it a little bit more texture.
All right, now I'm gonna add my chocolate in here. I'm gonna introduce it a little bit, and I'm just gonna slowly start a fold. Yeah, in the actual video, Michael Symon actually started talking about folding, and then he started whisking his chocolate instead.
And now I've got my egg whites. I'm just gonna give them one quick whisk. The soft peak is literally when it just starts to form a peak with your eggs, and it's not gonna be too hard, meaning that like I'll go down slightly.
Would you put that over your head right now?
I would not put this over my head. And if you want to ensure like a harder peak, you can use cornstarch, and that'll basically prevent any weeping in your egg whites. So we're literally just gonna fold that right in. Just put that, we'll put a little bit first. As soon as I'm done with this, I'll be able to take my entire pie and put it in the fridge to set. Now ideally you want to do that overnight, and that'll be ideal for tomorrow morning.
So while my pie is just gonna come out of the oven, I'm gonna start making my lovely and fluffy meringue topping. So I just wanna get all my whites. I don't wanna get any yolks in there, otherwise my meringue isn't gonna fluff up.
While you're actually doing your meringues, I'm gonna be making a nice whipped cream for my pumpkin pie, because who doesn't love whipped cream on their pumpkin pie? And not only am I making a fresh whipped cream using heavy cream, but I'm also gonna be incorporating bourbon. So it's gonna be a nice bourbon whipped cream. And you can use any liquor you want to infuse it with, but I'm going to infuse it with a little bit of this wonderful thing we call here bourbon.
So our pies are out of the oven now, and as my pie was cooling, I was finishing up my lovely meringue here. And I whipped it with some powdered sugar, just enough to get some soft peaks because I didn't want to toughen up my meringue.
While you're doing that, I actually have my cream that I whipped, and I'm gonna take my bourbon and I'm gonna throw that in there, and I'm gonna gently fold it in. You don't want to over whip your cream because you'll end up with butter. And the recipe called for a lot less whipped cream, but who doesn't love lots of whipped cream?
Yes.
I love whipped cream, and
Yeah.
the more whipped cream, the better. That's ideal and key. And as far as technique goes, when we're throwing this bad boy onto the pie, I'm not really going for any type of technique, really. I just wanted to kind of just lather over top the entire pumpkin pie. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take my pecans and I'm gonna put them right on top.
I'm actually going to torch my meringue. So you want to make sure that you're using your torch on a non-flammable surface or your stove. So I don't want to get too close to my meringue because the heat is actually hottest at the very end.
Look at that.
It's like s'mores.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to hurry. Just kind of take your time and go slowly.
So we've just plated up our pumpkin pies and we're going in for the taste. So that being said, let's start off with trying out Michael Symon's chocolate pumpkin pie that Adrian made. When you're eating a pumpkin pie, you really still want the pumpkin to be the main flavor in your pie.
It doesn't even look like a pumpkin pie at all.
Just what I thought. Does not taste like a pumpkin pie. I mean, it's not a bad pie, but if I had been told this is the chocolate pie, I would totally agree.
Looks like, or it kind of tastes like Mexican chocolate.
It does. It does.
Chocolate, cinnamon, tortillas.
It's not bad. It's just I'm bummed this doesn't taste like a pumpkin pie.
I'm bummed for you.
Let's move on to the pumpkin pie.
The beautiful appearance of the pumpkin banana meringue pie of Tyler Florence. And it's a healthier version.
Now,
minus the meringue.
Now the first thing that I tasted, it's not the same because it's different. Chocolate and banana aren't the same thing, but it's similar in the way that I feel the banana overpowered the pumpkin. Like I get immediate banana, and that's kind of all I get. There's a little hint pumpkin, I guess, but mostly it's like I'm biting into the meringue banana.
I can definitely taste like the banana chunks in there too, which gives it a nice texture.
Yeah, great texture. But yeah, definitely the same thing. Very, very far away from pumpkin pie.
Lastly, let's
All right.
go for Emeril's
pumpkin pie.
pumpkin chiffon
This is
pie.
the one.
I have a feeling as far as taste goes, this is gonna be the most traditional.
Other flavors are taking over for it, like the whipped cream comes in with a strong hit of bourbon.
Just the actual light airiness of the pumpkin because of the chiffon is great and it goes really well. And the reason why the whipped cream takes over and the crust takes over is because the pumpkin pie is so light and airy.
But I really taste all the different layers. Like I got
You
the
do.
hit of that bourbon, and then I tasted the pumpkin a little bit, and then I got the nuttiness
It does. It is definitely a 3-layer hit of flavors, which is always good. When I bite into a dessert, I love desserts nowadays that have different flavors and a lot of like different textures as well, and this has got it then.
So that being said, guys, which is first place in this recipe war?
I'm gonna have to go with BC.
I'm gonna go with Lalita just because I like bananas. So
You were questioning that.
I'll take the banana pie.
I'm gonna go with my own recipe.
There you go.
Again.
If it's good, it's good.
I really do like the lightness and fluffiness of the chiffon. I really love the bourbon. And the pecans. And it just, it comes out, it almost has that New Orleans taste. I really do love that in my pie. So I guess first is going to Emeril's recipe that I made. Second would be going to Lalita with the banana meringue by Tyler Florence. And dead last would be Michael Symon's in third place, chocolate pumpkin pie. That being said, this has been Recipe Wars. My name is BC Hoffman.
And I'm Lalita Lagasse.
And I'm Adrian Bustamante.
Please subscribe to our channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Catch us next time on Recipe Wars.